I exit the door and find that it's raining cats and dogs outside. I stand there with my umbrella and take a deep breath of fresh air while looking at the clouds above. Hot stuff, huh? I do want to have a good relationship with Chinatsu, Nanoha, and that girl on the internet. None of them hate me. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I might be enjoying the attention a bit too much. If I stay this pathetic and unreliable, it'll just make them look stupid for being so good to me. Of course, for all I know, they might just be messing with me too. Nah, I'm overthinking this. This is such a bad habit. I always overthink things and end up having to apologize or make excuses for myself. If you don't, you'll have the rug swept out from under your feet. I hear a faint sneeze from behind the door. Timidly walk toward where the noise came from and see a dripping wet girl crouched beneath the overhang, taking shelter from the rain. Isn't she the girl from the entrance ceremony? She notices me and lets out a voice of surprise. Looks like she remembers me too. Not having any wits about me, I end up greeting her like a fool. Her voice is so faint, the rain almost drowns it out. When I do hear it, it's as clear as the sound of a bell. She came walking here without an umbrella in this heavy rain. She's hesitating to speak for some reason. Is she a really silent type? Talking about the complete opposite of Chinatsu and Nana. Without ever making eye contact with me, the girl gets to her feet. Which is when I finally notice that she's shivering. I realize how stupid I'm being before I finish. She doesn't have extremely fair skin, it's just turned pale from the cold. Her lips are trembling and starting to turn purple, and she whispers in an extremely faint voice. She takes a step and tries to start walking away, but her leg suddenly gives way. In the nick of time, I manage to throw myself to the ground and catch her. Breathe a sigh of relief, but that doesn't last long. Break out into a cold sweat the very next moment. Because I realize once I grab the girl that her body's grown unbelievably cold. Pick her up and run to the entrance. There's a bed laid out in the living room, and that girl's sleeping peacefully in it. Sit down by the pillow and look at her face. Her face has regained color now, but it's a bit too flushed, and her breathing seems labored. Her belongings are placed beside her, a lovely little purse, her student ID, and some candy. When I pick up her ID, her holograph attached to it projects out and stares at me with a vacant expression. Turn around upon hearing a hoarse voice and see Makoto Minazuki forcing her eyes and holding out a trembling hand. She meekly shakes her head, her eyes, though clouded over due to the fever, gazing at me earnestly. She doesn't respond, but her tormented expression tells the whole story. Aki grabs the ID from my hand. It's ever so slight, but Aki's eyes have widened in surprise. It's not something you see very often. She puts the ID down on the floor and gently covers Makoto up with the blanket once more. She lets out a sigh of relief and closes her eyes. I wonder if she fell asleep already. No room for arguments. The rain finally lets up around sunset. After the doctor leaves, I go to see that girl one more time. Take a seat by her pillow. Our eyes meet. She shyly retreats back into the covers all the way up to her nose. But seeing that her skin has regained a normal complexion makes me relieved. Her voice is still as tiny as a mosquito's. Her dark eyes seem to have a somewhat apologetic look to them. Is that her way of saying okay? That's kind of cute. She says that with an embarrassed look, her eyes blinking hard and fast. Even though the blanket's covering most of her face, I can guess she's probably blushing. What's she doing all by herself in all that rain? It doesn't seem like she was on her way elsewhere. Was she lost? She also said she didn't want to go back to her dorm. I'd like to ask her what the deal is, but I know I gotta tread with caution here.
もうすぐご飯ができるからお粥なら食べられるよね。ありがとうございます。ありがとうっていいよ。私たち同級生なんだし。ありがとう。
Maybe Nano's smile eased her mind a bit, because I can sense her relaxing a little. She must have been really nervous, huh?
そうそう、寮の先輩がとっても心配してたみたいだよ。
As soon as she expresses her gratitude, she dives back under the covers. Still notice that her voice sounded a little teary. Where were they when Great Christmas happened? What were they doing? What about Sora? Shit. Why can't I remember something so important? I unconsciously stand up and stare into the wasteland. I want to see them. How am I supposed to face them?
そこから先は立ち入り禁止だ。
Commanding voice calls out to me. There's a hello. Well, it's nice to meet you, ma'am. There's a woman standing behind me. She's dressed roughly, and from her physique, I can guess she's probably in her mid-20s. Her hair's been cut to shoulder length, and her smile looks somewhat brutish. She almost seems like a leopard.
入るのは簡単でも、出るのは難しいわ。パトロールに見つかれば、無警告で射殺され、亡骸はその場で焼却処分されてしまう。
失礼ですが、
聞いた話は記憶喪失の門倉幸注意。
How does she know about that? It's one thing to know who I am, but only Rain and Noise should know about my amnesia.
私たちはノイのお得意さんなのよ。ましてや保護者からの問い合わせなら、事情を教えてくれないわけがない。
Oh, so you work with his
保
dad.
護者だあんた。
Lips curve into a smile and she sends her ID through the wireless. Shizzle Steinbrecher. Ugh. Just don't like the sound of your name. Chief of Special Processing in the Cyber Service Department of Katakota Transportation.
門倉ウィン
The name makes it sound like your usual shipping company, but the truth is very different.
ゲリラ戦専門の傭兵部隊の親父のやつ。
傭兵ではない。統合の認可を得た正式な PMC よ。
よく言うよ。
Thinking back to something I saw in the news when I was a kid, there's a report on a civilian massacre, and a PMC was suspected of being behind it. Old Man's Company, a notorious combat group that called themselves Fenrir.
フェンリルの名前だと、いろいろ都合が悪い場合、入国を拒否されたり、いろいろとね。
PMC だろうが傭兵だろうが、どちらも戦争や。
そうね。それについてはこれから話をしましょう。1対1で。
She says that with a rough, provocative smile. What do I do? Should I contact
保護
Rain?
者がいないと不安か、門倉君。
She walks off without waiting for me. I followed Shizzle and started walking down the barren earth.
こんなところに森。
After a while, we reach a place that's overflowing with greenery, though it is a very small area.
ここはもともと自然公園だったけれど、植林し直した箇所もあるよね。その後も丹念に手入れをされ、灰色のクリスマスで、特に食料事情に関しては。
そんな話をするために来たわけではない。
せっかちね。
She lets out a sigh, looks me in the eye, and starts talking.
君を迎えに来たのよ。君の身柄は門倉運。
The sudden one-sided declaration makes me laugh. She even bothered to ask me.
それは
真面目な話を君の父上も。
俺の身をどうやら俺は親父と仲直りした記憶も。
仲直りも何も。親が子供の身を案じるのは当然の。
その割には妻の最後も見取らずに何年も俺を親戚に預けっぱなし。
そろそろ反抗期は卒業してもいい頃じゃないか。
That stings, but I guess it is true. Right now, my memories and my thought processes have reverted to my teenage years. Can't help but sigh. Shizzle takes a deep breath too.
私たちも近々この国で仕事を請け負うことになる。狙いは君と同じくドレクスラー機関研究所のと言ったらどうする。
俺がどうして。
他に目的は考えられ。
What? For my past self? Anyway, Shizzle starts explaining things to me.
灰色のクリスマスの引き金になったアセンブラ流出は研究者による予知できなかったアセンブラのバグ、または管理していた AI の暴走など。
でも実験していた研究。
幾人かは生存しているわ。そう。
こんな大惨事を招いたのに。
So they're living and hiding somewhere in this province. Anger begins to build up inside of me.
彼らの頭脳は貴重よ。かくまってでも雇いたい連中は山といる。
Shizzle gives me a suggestive smile, which makes me sick to my stomach. I'm betting those tons of people are the exact reason why the Drexler mad scientists are still at large.
そのつもりで今の君じゃ正直務まらないわね。
なぜそ
Feeling insulted, I shoot her an aggressive
せ
question.
めて追っている組織のことぐらい
She's got me there. I really did forget everything I knew about the Drexler Institute.
悪いことは言わない。鈴代市を離れてお父上に保護してもらいなさい。
No. This thing about living in his care makes my breakfast rise up to my throat. There's no way I could ever go back to him now.
俺はもう子供じゃない。
そう、君の取り柄は趣味、それも今の状況じゃ。
趣味クラムは動
だったらリミッターオフで戦う勇気が本当にあるの。
Ooh. Prove our worth. Should I prove it? Prove you're a good fighter. Well, what if that's what she wants? She wants me to prove I'm a good fighter. So she can go back to the old man and be like, yeah, no, your boy still got the skills. He's still a good pilot. We're gonna want this guy. Interesting. I think I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. Like, I ain't gotta prove shit to you. I already know what I can do, alright?
挑発には乗らないよ。
チキンね。
なんと言われようが。
だったら仕方がないわね。
Shizel puts her hand on my shoulder. Oh, hello. It's kind of hot, not gonna lie. And all of a sudden, my legs are swept out from under me. I fall to the ground, and Shizel immediately straddles
大
me.
佐の息子さん相手にあまりクルードな手段は使いたくなかったのだけどね。
She sticks a gun in my face.
呆れたぞ。心底少年だな。注意。私が敵でここが本当の戦場なら。まったく。そんなざまでうろつくなんて。殺してくれと言っているようなものだ。少佐と呼べ。そして口の利き方。
She's got a cold look in her eyes, like she's gazing upon a piece of trash. She grabs my collar and pulls my upper body off the
最
ground.
後の選択。スタンして連行されたいか。それとも自分の意志で一緒に来るか。どうした？
She stops talking in the middle of her sentence. There's a laser sight pointed at the center of her
撃た
forehead.
ないのか？レイン少尉。
あなたが注意の敵ならばとっくに額を撃ち抜いています。
Major Shizel drops her gun and puts her hands up with a wry smile.
分かったから勘弁してくれ。私だって大佐の息子を傷つけるつもりはない。
ならば言ってください。ご心配なく。注意は私が守ります。
Major Shizel gingerly gets to her feet and walks back with her hands still up.
いいだろう。霧島レイン少尉。彼は預けた。
Major Shizel then disappears into the woods.
レイ
Rain pops out of the bushes and walks over to me.
失礼します。
Ow!
どうして一人でのこのこと。
She slaps me out of nowhere. She's giving me an intense glare and her voice sounds like she's struggling to hold back her anger.
本当に心配したんですよ。
I've made her angry yet again. I made her worry and I made her sad. How many times will I act like an idiot before I learn my lesson?
すまない。
I don't want to make an empty apologies to her anymore. I want to show her with my actions. Besides, Rain isn't showing me all this concern just because I'm her superior officer. It's because she and I are in the same boat. I don't know why, but that's the feeling I get.
行きましょう。あまり遅くなると。
She whispers that in a restrained voice and holds out a hand for me. Can't go back to those days anymore. I don't even have a home to go back to. My memories are still a mess, but there's one thing I can say for sure. I'm going to get to the bottom of what caused Great Christmas. I'm going to make the people who took my life from me pay. That's why I became a soldier. It's my only purpose in life now. Glance up at the sky as a strangely familiar rage seethes inside of me. I must reclaim my past, even if I want to move forward. I'm going to do it with an eye to the future, not because I want somewhere to go back to.
わかった。行こう、レイ。
Whoa, easy with the flashing lights. Oh, hell
あき
yeah.
ね。
みんな
She looks more serious than usual.
ひょっとして
一晩ね。
風は寝てれば。でもあの子 CBD で 電脳性自我境界線喪失症、俗に言う電脳症。
電脳症、そんな。
Come to think of it, I kind of recall hearing that on the day of the entrance ceremony. Aki nods. Cyberbrain syndrome. It's an illness that I'm all too familiar with. When people connect to the internet, their brain chips become part of the AI network. Some synchronize with the AI so well that the borderline between their chips and the network well and truly becomes blurred. That's cyberbrain syndrome. In this day and age, where nanotech has improved leaps and bounds and cloning has become a reality, nobody has even been able to identify its causes, let alone a cure. Those affected by it cannot separate themselves from the internet. If they're disconnected from it for a prolonged period of time, their mind and body come under immense stress, causing death.
確かにうちの学園にも何
じゃあこの子もネットで幻覚見ちゃったり他の電子体のデータを読んじゃったりできるわけ？電脳症の症状は本当に様々。でもある意味便利じゃない？
だけどその能力をコントロールできなくて。
As I speak, unhappy memories from my past resurface, and a frustration that I can't take out on anything or anyone wells up within me. Familiar pain runs through my chest. It's something I never wanted to remember. But that pain strongly linked to my memories of a person I never want to forget.
おまけに人には薄気味悪がられる入学式の時に見ただろう。きっと寮でも何か嫌なことがあったに違いない。
Nano gently grabs my arm. I realize that everyone is staring at me, wide-eyed and surprised. Crap. The frustration must have come out in my voice and expression. I shake my head a few times and take a deep breath.
ごめん。私
She nods as feeling terrible about what she said.
千夏のせい、誰のせいでもない。誰も悪いわけじゃない。俺こそ急に頭に血が上っちまって。
Yeah, nobody's in the wrong. Just that the mention of cyberbrain syndrome and the sight of the bedridden girl made my scars ache.
ね、あの子の様子見てまだしばらくは様子見でしょ。
ああ。
ま、看病なら任せて。こう見えても保健体育は得意だからさ。
Shansa's smile as she runs off makes me feel a bit better. Hell yeah.
はい、こう、お水。
I take the cup of cold water Nanoha offers me and gulp it down. That helps me calm down.
菜の葉も医者が来るまでずっとあの子のせい。
いいよ。
それと
If she hadn't stopped me, I might have taken it out on everyone.
そんなのいいってば。謝らないでよ。こう。
She flashed me a gentle, considerate smile.
いいんだよ、こう。電脳症って聞いて、こうが平気なわけがないもん。
本当に。
だからもう。
Even as she pouts, her eyes are
謝
smiling.
らなくてもいいよ。
Feeling somewhat awkward, I put the cup down and moved to leave the room, only to remember.
ああ、そうだ。
I was in such a rush to get the girl inside, I'd forgotten all about it until
はい
now.
はい、もう謝らないで。お掃除は私に任せておいて。
Nanoha gives me a pat on the back with a smile on her face. The touch of her palm is filled with warmth, just like it always used to be. I think back to that Minazuki girl as I lie in bed. Cyberbrain syndrome, huh? It's been a while since I last heard that term.
こう。お母さんの具合は？
Yeah, I kind of figured that was the case.
お父さんには連絡できたの？
きっと来るよ。父さんは約束したんだ。僕や母さんをいつだって助けに駆けつけるって。
こう。
父さんは正だから絶対に。
Thinking about it still hurts. And now I can't sleep. I check the time and see it's 1 a.m. The dorm is so quiet you could hear a pin drop.
ネットに潜るか。
As a second gen, I'll always choose going online over rolling around in my bed. Close my eyes and let the familiar process take over me. When I open them again, I'm in the ether.
適当にふらついて。
Open up my bookmarks and go through my list of potential destinations. My favorite chat rooms, the arena, arcade, data archive, and live music house.
自分のリストながら呆れるな。落ち着ける場所が一つもありゃしね。
Sure, I'm having trouble sleeping, but I don't want to do anything too tiring
あ
either.
そこに行ってみるか。
Make up my mind and input that familiar address. I get to Aki's private space, but I don't see that girl anywhere.
やっぱりいるわけ。
It's not like she lives here. There's no way she'd be online at this late hour. I'd seen it coming, but I'm still a bit disappointed. That's when I hear someone sleeping nearby.
まさか。
I walk across the thicket and find Aki asleep amongst the bushes.
あきね。またダイブしたまま寝てるの。
She looks kind of happy for some reason. A bunch of cats have snuggled up to her, acting as a blanket of sorts. Of course, these aren't all real cats. They're NPCs played by the AI.
風邪は仮想だから引かないか。
The sight brings a smile to my face. Crouch down to look to pet the cats. That's when I see my cousin's dazzlingly naked body peeking through the swarm of cats.
見なかった。今のは虚像。
Try to walk away without making a sound. That should teach me not to waltz into someone's private space anytime I please just because they gave me access to it.
平気な人だ。
I hear a voice nearby. Turn around to see where it's coming from. Find Makoto Minazuki standing there.
何か言った？というか、どうして君がここに？
Her real body should be sleeping in the dorm's living room.
そんなにじっと裸の女の人を見て、やっぱり男の人ってそういう胸の大きい人がいいの？
いや、わざとじゃないんだよ。てか、一体何を言ってるんだ？
Is it just me or did I hear a voice directly inside my head just now?
いて。私の声が聞こえる？
え？
聞こえ、嬉しい。先輩、この思いが聞こえますか？
うん、聞こえる。これは君の。
はい。ネットの中だから私、意識が外に漏れちゃうんです。
相性とかあるのかな？
はい、そうみたいです。誰にでも聞こえるわけじゃなくて。
そんなこともあるんだ。
私固有の症状らしいですけど。でも嬉しい。リアルだと思ったこともうまく言えなくて。
そうか。喋るの苦手なんだ。
思考はすごい勢いで回ってるんですけど、口がついていかなくて。やっぱりリアルにネットの方が楽しいです。
まあそれは人それぞれだと思うけどね、水無月さん。
違います。そうじゃなくて、できれば名前で呼んでいただけませんか？
じゃあ、
はい、嬉しいです、カー先輩。先輩は私が電脳症だって分かってても嫌なので見ないですね。
うん、別にうつる病気ってわけではないし。
でも電脳症自体が謎の多い病気ですから、やっぱり普通の人は嫌がりますよ。
そうだね。差別する人もいるけど、でも俺の周りにはそういう人はいないかな。
うるさい。
Aki starts complaining about our conversation in her sleep. And I'm pretty sure the only one actually talking. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty much the only one actually talking. There we go. Must look so weird from the outside. We tiptoe our way to the other side of the area.
誰かに言われたような気がしたんです。それで気がついたらここに。
ここにどうやってセキュリティを抜けて？
Yeah, this is Aki's private space. Unauthorized avatars shouldn't be able to get in.
私にはネット上のセキュリティは無意味です。私の意識パターン AI のそれに近いらしく、セキュリティをスルーしてしまうそうです。
That's one hell of a bomb to drop on me out of the blue. She can break through a wizard's security that easily? If her ability were misused, things could get real nasty real quick.
そうなんだ。
It's also part of her cyberbrain syndrome, huh? Laws of VR are defined by the AI. Under the logic of the internet, as they call it, nobody's an exception. That's why people can die online, why limiters and security systems exist. The internet can't function without strict rules defining what goes and what doesn't. But those with cyberbrain syndrome subvert these laws. Their egos go rogue and ignore the AI's rules and even the person's own will. That results in a mutually disruptive relationship between them and the internet. They subconsciously bend the laws of the internet eats away at their subconscious in turn.
それにしても、アキネーのセキュリティを破るなんて驚き。
意識してるわけじゃないんですよ。私にはセキュリティが見えないんです。もしかしてここを管理している人に怒られるんですか？怒られる。
Aww. She bows
大
apologetically.
丈夫。アキネーは怒ったりしないよ。ああ見えて本当に優しい人だから。
Relief spreads across her face when I say that.
よかったです。アキさんでしたか？綺麗な方ですね。先輩の姉さんですか？いいな。私もあれくらいスタイルが良ければいいのに。お姉ちゃんもスタイルいいし、なんで私はこんなに持ちたいけるんでしょうね。
まことちゃん、思考が溢れてる溢れてる。
I thought I got used to hearing her thoughts, but they just sped up like crazy and I'm being overwhelmed.
いいんだけどね。ちなみにアキネーはハトコさ。昔の癖でアキネーなんて呼んでるけどね。
なんか
まあね。遠縁ではあるけれど、俺は本当の姉貴みたいに思っているよ。
羨ましいです。
え？
なんでも。
Why jealous? Does she not get along with her siblings or something?
本当になんでもないですよ。でも思考だとつい思ったことがそのまま出ちゃうから。
そっか。
あと感情が高ぶったりした時は相手構わず思考が漏れたりもしちゃうんですけど、私は基本冷静ですからめったにそんなことはありません。
Calm? Who, her? Not entirely sure about that, but I probably shouldn't dig any deeper. That's when I hear a familiar voice. Turn around and see that girl waving and running toward us.
あれ、どうしてこんな時間に来？
She yells out my name over and over and hops around like a dog that just spotted its owner. Makoto's staring at her, her eyes open wide in surprise. Now they're both staring at each other. Guess they can't really introduce themselves.
どうしてここに？
Makoto exclaims in surprise, it's like she didn't hear me at all. Wait, could it be?
君
Two girls stare at each other for a while.
私
そうか。
Nero was hoping I could learn something about her.
ああ、知り合って結構経つのに。
そうですか。
Huh? Wait, I can't hear Makoto's
さ
thoughts.
っきから心の声が聞こえないけど。
意識して思念の思いを伝えるのがそれなりに神経に負担がかかるらしくて、だからあまり連続してはいけないらしいです。
なるほどね。
Such a pure, innocent smile. Could she have cyberbrain syndrome too? Maybe she's under long-term hospitalization. That would explain why she can be so strangely perceptive at times. At the same time, a bitter thought crosses my brain. She immediately notices how I'm feeling and gives me a worried look. I'm overthinking this.
まあ、名前なんかわからなくても、それなりに仲良くできているんだけどね。
先輩に気づいていない？
気づいていない。
何にも。
そうなの。
Crap, I responded to her thoughts. She did say they leak out by themselves. I was seeing it as some kind of cool, mysterious superpower, but I guess it might be nothing but a burden for her. I mean, it's all well and good that not everybody can hear her thoughts, but it must be a real annoyance that she can't hide anything from people that can hear them.
ないけど。
ただ、
She's trying to choose her words wise. She's trying to choose her words widely? I don't think that's the right word. After a while, she looks at me with a serious look.
あ、質問？
She's trying to make a request. She's having trouble expressing something, and I wonder what that is. Sometime later, she shakes her head as if to say she's given up on trying to say it out loud.
一つ質問があります。
いいけど。
この人のこと先輩は好きなんですか？
Takes me a moment to understand her question.
先輩はこの人に対して恋愛感情を持って
Do
いる
you
んですか？
like her? When I realize what she's asking, my heart starts racing.
俺は別にそういうわけじゃ。
そうですか。すみません、ぶしつけな質問をして。
いや、気にはしてないけど。
でもそれではもしかしたら好きになるかもしれないんですね。
ああ、そういうこと。
Awkward silence falls upon us.
好きになる。もしかしたらこの人。
It's her thoughts again. She pointed that would show a lack of basic decency, though.
こんちね
Hole. Suddenly, the girl grabs Makoto and starts patting her head. She looks so happy. Meanwhile, Makoto's eyes are wide open in shock. With a sigh, she closes her eyes. It's obvious that all the tension is leaving her body.
こんにちは。
The two of them don't move an inch as they cling to each other.
この人の先輩が好き。
I hear her thoughts more clearly than ever. Makoto's totally convinced that the girl likes me. You mean,
優しくしてあげてくださいね。
with that thought, Makoto starts to leave.
そうだね。ありがとうございました。
She bows to me and
ああ、待って。
she logs out. Makoto vanishes from the internet.
行っちゃったか。
いたった。
ねえ、君は感じなかった？そうか。
Huh? Wait a second. She really does like me, as Makoto believed. She heard Makoto think it out loud. Flashed the same old innocent smile at me. Just that is enough to get my pulse racing. I want to make sure. I want to hear it straight from her mouth. I want to know how she feels about me.
注意。
Rain talks to me from the seat opposite mine. Looks like I fell asleep. I think I was having another dream about my school
今
days.
ノイ先生と通話中です。周囲にも中継しますので。
ノイにか。
First, I have no clue what she's talking about, but I soon remember what happened with Major Shiesel.
というわけで30分後にはそちらに着きますから。
悪かったと言っているではないか。親御さんからの問い合わせではしらばっくれるわけにもいかないだろ。
She's just making excuses over the phone. We're both talking to her using the same channel.
他にも俺たちのことを誰か
Try poking at Noi's avatar. Doesn't work,
も
unsurprisingly.
ちろんだ。そもそも君が私のところにいるのを嗅ぎつけたのだ。
親父がどうして俺の居場所が分かったんだ。
さあな。愛する息子の状況を調べるうち、偽装に気づいたとかじゃないのか。
まさか
I was gunning for the Drexler Institute, and nanomachines are a goose that lays golden eggs. Meanwhile, my old man's a total war dog and money grubber.
シゼル少佐はこの州で仕事が控えているという。
ああ連中もドレクスラー機関の残党に興
興味のあるのはドレクスラー機関だけ
Rain starts thinking aloud with her fingers on her
ど。
chin.
以前の作戦、コウさんが記憶を失った時のことですが。
俺が記憶を失
She immediately sends me some data. Spot my own signature on it. A mission briefing that I had prepared for the mercenaries I hired.
あのアジトこそはドレクスラー機関残党の潜伏先、ナノ密造プラントだったのです。しかし彼らを追い詰めたものの、施設についてる情報をデータベースから持ち帰ろうとした注意がその爆破の影響を受け、大事なことを黙っていて。
いいんだ今聞いたからこそ理解
If she told me all this back when I had just woken up, none of it would have made any sense to me. I'm more bothered by Major Shiesel's actions now. She was being way too aggressive for someone trying to take her boss's son into her care. I think she was trying to sound out during our conversation if I had any information she could use.
シゼル少佐が俺を拉致しようとしたのは俺の失われた記憶が目当てなんじゃないだろうな。
だとすればフェンリルは今回の件に関して私以上に何かを掴んでいるのかもしれない。いずれにせよ今後はフェンリルにも警戒した方がいいでしょうね。
まさしく四面楚歌って感じだな。
一つ提案。
Noya hesitantly butts into our conversation.
父親の保護を受けたくないのであれば。
My mother's side. That would be Aki and her foster mother, who is also my mother's younger sister, Aunt
お
Sarah.
ばさんか
そうだ。アークインダストリー社の立花セイラ社長なら君たちに力を貸してくれるに違いない。
Arc Industries is a bleeding-edge cybertech company that Aunt Sarah built all by herself. Her face comes to mind as I think about her. The biggest oddball-cum genius born to an ultra-rich business family. She's the only relative that I never could defy.
おいおいおばさんからも俺の身柄について問い合わせがあったんじゃないだろう。
君の親戚筋の嗅覚は素晴らしいな。 CDF の税金泥棒に爪の赤を飲ませてやりたいものだ。
やれやれだおばさんも昔とは変わっていない。
しかしコウさん、
Rain interjects. She must know at least a little about my relationship with my
レ
aunt.
インがそう言ってくれるならそうだな。親父に頼るぐらいならおばさんの世話になった方がいいし。
とにかくシティに戻ったら連絡をくれたまえ。君はまだ治療中の身なんだからな。
よろしくお願いします。
まあ楽しみにしておいてくれたまえ。詫びと言ってはなんだが、君たちのためにうちのおすすめ商品を用意。
結構です。
As if drawn away from Rain's glare, Noya ends the call and her avatar disappears.
先生にも困ったもんだよな。
コウさんがいちいち反応するからからかわれるんです。お願いですからもっとシャキッとしてください。
いや今のは俺じゃなくてレインが。
そうでしょうか。
まあともあれ行動目標は決まったな。行ってみようアークインダストリーに。
はい。
Ground Zero End. Okay, okay.
にぎやかなのはいいけれどなんか怪しげな雰囲気だな。
闇市ですよ。統制経済の下ではありがちな光景です。
Walking through a place like this alongside such a beautiful woman really is kind of
コウ
unsettling.
さん、あまりキョロキョロしない方がいいですよ。
どうして
買い物に不慣れなよそ者だと思われるかもしれません。
Her words are polite and she looks out for me with great care. I still feel a distance between us, and she's keeping me at arm's length. And now that I'm used to her pretty smile, I'm bothered by how cold it is.
注意。
Suddenly Rain yells out and grabs the man's arm. He's holding a somewhat familiar wallet.
それ俺の財布。
行きなさい。
The man runs off holding his arm in pain.
だから申し上げたのです。
With a defeated sigh, she returns my wallet.
すまない。
You got her mad at me again. Her expression suddenly changes from a strained look to one of
無
sympathy.
理もないことですよね。
そうなんだよな。なんでついあちこち見回して。
気をつけましょう。私も気をつけます。
悪いね。なんかレインには世話かけっぱな。
私は注意の部下ですから。当然の行為です。
She puts on a smile
行
again.
きましょう。私など護衛についた武男の軍曹と思って。
難しいことを言うな。
I follow Rain into the black market. Everywhere I look, I see stores with old clothes and ration packages, plus automatic rifles and bundles of ammo.
おいおい、こんなものまで売っているのか？
When I stop and stare, the person minding the store gives me a big, uneven smile. It's all stocked to the brim with ammo, grenades, and military software packages. Then there's a bunch of airtight cases piled up like cans. Cases have an ominous symbol engraved on them, a warning symbol for nanomachines inside.
ナノマシンまで売っているのか？
Nanomachines. Being treated by nanomachines at this very moment, too, sure. They're protein robots that recompose matter from the ground up according to their code. They're miracle tech that can significantly advance our civilization. At the same time, they're also dangerous substances that can cause disasters if misused. As such, their usage is strictly regulated. Or so I thought.
一体こん
As I mutter in disbelief, Rain gently pats me on the shoulder.
置かれているのは医療用や工作用のもの。
無害。それでもナノマシンの入手。
She shakes her head, cutting me off. Yeah, paperwork is meaningless in a market that sells guns in broad daylight.
それでもさすがに殺傷目的のナノは扱っていない。
そんなもの大っぴらには売れません。
つまり大っぴらじゃなければ。
The guy just smiles and points at a stall a little further off. I see a guy who seems like a mercenary take a Duralumin case with the GU logo on it from the stall owner.
軍事用ナノマシン。統合軍の流出品か？
まさかマークは偽装でしょ。
でもナノマシンの品質じゃ鈴代ブランドが一番ですよ。さあ、お客
興味ありません。
Rain tugs at my sleeve. I notice the CDF constable walking toward us. The CDF is a military police organization that the municipality runs to maintain law and order in the city. After we pass the constable, I turn around and see him exchanging pleasantries with the guy we were just talking to.
なんだかな。あの店員、巡査に金を握らせていたぞ。
見せしめに逮捕されないために小遣いを渡しているのでしょう。
要するに賄賂じゃないか。CDF は町の治安を回復する気がないのか？
闇市が存在しなければどこの町の経済は成り立つ。
She ends that conversation there and starts walking toward another stall.
本当にここって俺の生まれた国なのか？
I follow after Rain at a brisk pace. Chapter 5 NPC. Oh ho ho.
寒くありませんか、コウさん。
ああ、大丈夫。
Rain has brought us down to downtown Suzushiro. There's a foul stench in the air, and everyone walking the streets here has lost the glint in their eyes. Stop for a second, look up at the sky, but a veil of thick clouds keeps the sight out of the sun and blue skies from me.
でも、どうしてここはこんなに暗くて寒いんだろう？
There's no trace of the bright sunshine I saw in my flashbacks.
気候の悪化は様々な環境汚染が原因であることは明白ですが、あれも一因でしょうか。
She joins me and looks up at the sky, but in a different direction, where a skyscraper soars far, far
あ
above.
あ、コロジーか。
A massive structure that's over 1,000 meters tall is a self-contained residential area that could house the entire population of a last century city. Suzushiro Arcology Mid-Spire. It has a highly imposing and impressive appearance, and you can't even see its peak without bending your neck way back.
都市機能の中枢部であり本体。あそこにはシティ人口の2割と富の 70% が集約されています。
She drops me those facts while still gazing upward.
なかなかに素晴らしい格差だな。
飢えたる世界では弱者はより弱くなり、強者はより強くなる。
The massive Mid-Spire also casts a long dark shadow at its foot, huh?
シティの住民の7割が正式な市民権を持たず、社会保障も受けられずにいます。
Her eyes, still fixated on the Mid-Spire, now taking on an intense look.
難民の暴動が頻繁。
地も海も空も荒れ果ててしまっています。コウさんが学園生だった頃よりさらに。
Even back then, our planet was sick and dying. Centuries of pollution and war had depleted its resources, and it could no longer provide for the huge population. I'm pretty sure we were still trying to turn things around.
環境再生計画を放棄されてしまったのか
Term that instinctively came to mind dredges up fragments of my memories. In the past, the GU initiated several programs to rehabilitate our environment. In fact, Seishu Academy was built on land reclaimed by one of those
計
programs.
画は頓挫形骸化しました。微々たる規模で今も進められてはいますが、末期の病人に薬を投与し、
末期の病人か特効薬でもあればいいんだけどな
絶望が地に満ちても諦めてはなりません
A bellowing voice interrupts my thoughts. Ew. Ew. You look gross, dude. I mean, obviously the religious getup doesn't help, but ugh. Nah, bro. A bunch of people in robes have gathered in one corner of the street, and a monitor in the center of the crowd is displaying a man delivering a speech.
我々は物質の束縛を逃れこれはあらかじめ定められた計画であったのでその計画は我らの遺伝子にプログラムされていた偉大なるソフィアを悪しき偽りの世界に降臨させるために
Man throws up his arms and preaches in an entranced voice. As his madly passionate speech continues, he catches the pedestrians' attention and brings them to a halt.
ドミニオン
That's when I finally noticed the banner they're holding up.
逆十字のシンボル連中はサタニストか何かなのか
違いますが似たようなものかもしれません。彼らはサイバーグノーシス主義と称する教義を崇める狂信的な宗教カルト団体です。演説を行っているのは現在彼らを率いている
ドミニオン狂信カルトか教祖は救世主の生まれ変わりとかそれとも無ビューの預言者様だったりするわけ
彼らの教義によればこの世は悪意ある存在により作られた。そして AI こそは思考の女神ソフィアの化身である。その導きに従い人は量子的生命に進化すべきなのだ。
この世は仮想 AI が神様か現実逃避にも程があるな
ドミニオンに関する詳細なデータをネットから見つけ
見せてもらえるかな
Yeah. I immediately receive a whole bunch of data, including a broad outline of Dominion, pictures of their father, etc.
グノーシス派が体育のキリスト教を歌う。
Gnosticism was a prominent heretical movement of Christianity. Heretical? Isn't Gnosticism just... No. I'm trying to remember, like... Because there's a difference between theism and Gnosticism. Because, like, there's... Because I know, like, the vague I don't know the exact definitions, but, like, the vague definitions of, like, you know, atheism is, like, the complete lack of belief in... The confident lack of belief, or the belief that there is no, you know, God, anything out there. It's no... The confident belief that there is nothing more beyond what the world has. And then agnosticism is more like a level of uncertainty. It's like uncertainty that leans toward not believing, right? Like an agnostic would be someone who, you know, says, I really don't have any way of knowing, but I believe there's something out there. But I kind of tend not to believe there's something out there. Whereas someone who is Gnostic, just going off what I know of agnostic relates to, wouldn't Gnostic be like a case of uncertainty that leads, you know, I'm just gonna Google it. I have Google at my, yeah, Gnosticism. A collection of religious ideas and systems that coalesced in the late 1st century among Jewish and early Christian sects. What makes it heretical? These various groups emphasize personal spiritual knowledge, gnosis, over the pro-orthodox teachings, traditions, and authority of religious institutions. Okay, interesting. So I did Google like all the terms I was mentioning before, and I was pretty spot on, right? Theism is the belief in at least one deity. Atheism is the absence of belief in the existence of deities. Agnosticism is saying that the belief in the existence of God or the divine is either unknowable in principle or unknown in fact, essentially being apathetic towards religious beliefs. So like they just kind of accept it's something we'll never really know the truth behind, and they just kind of, if you're agnostic, you just really don't care, right? But Gnosticism is specifically a collection of religious ideas and systems. Gnosticism is something specific. Agnosticism is a very broad belief system, whereas Gnosticism, is that how they're opposites? Agnosticism is a very broad belief system, whereas Gnosticism seems to be a specific belief system. Anyway, from what I understand, what would label it a heretical movement anyway is that it kind of went outside. It's something that didn't quite follow the rules as that early Christian, the early Christianity movement followed. It kind of branched off and did its own thing, which I guess became what we know as more modern Christianity. I don't know. It looks like there's a lot to research into this to get like the exact definitions of it. But yeah, it looks like it's a belief system that originates from Judaism and Christianity. Long story short. Interesting. Anywho, by all means, Rain, carry on.
それがネット時代に入ってからサイバーグノーシスと呼ばれる思想運動に生まれ変わりました。元来サイバーグノーシス派は信奉者も少なく活動も至って施策的で平和の存在だったのです。十数年前グレゴリー氏
Yeah, this Gregory fucker.
映っている人物ですが、彼が教義に独自の解釈を加え現在のドミニオンの母体となる教団を立ち上げました。
Oh boy. Love dealing with cults.
ドミニオンの信者を集め勢力を急速に拡大。しかし当局の介入により教祖であるグレゴリー氏とおそらく謀殺されたのだろう。
カルト集団崩壊の
信者たちの神父や信者に対しネットで儀式にのっとり自決すればより高知の精神体
classic cult shit.
最悪です。
Going by the way she spits out those words, I can tell she really hates Dominion with every fiber of her being.
我々はさらなる進化の過程にあけがれと偽りに満ちた存在から
Something she said doesn't make sense to me.
行方不明になったというグレゴリー氏、今目の前で
数年前再びネットに現れ本人は復活したと主張して
死んだはずの神父様が地獄ありがちなパフォーマンスだな。
はっきりしているのは彼らは悪質なカルト教団で世界中で問題を起こし
問題って信者を洗脳監禁とか。
加えてここ数年は急激に規模を拡大。今では CDF にも迂闊に手を出せる一大勢力に成長している。
信じたくない。
ここ鈴代市は彼らドミニオンの主要拠点です。この町で非合法に密造されるバイオナノ製品や
統合政府はドミニオンをどうして放置しているんだ。
統合政府の軍隊統合軍は原則として自治州政府の要請がないかなので稼いだ金を議員の誰かに献金してカルトの存在を黙認してもらってるの。
死と汚れに満ちた我々は常に騙されている。
The speech reaches a fever pitch, and the priest in the monitor wildly swings his arms about as he appeals to his audience. I'm forced to look away from the monitor because listening to the guy makes me sick.
行きましょう。
There are motions that we should leave. And that's when I hear footsteps rumbling behind me.
Okay.
Some masked men make their entrance and shove me out of their way. They're holding glossy black avtomats.
我らが母なる大地よ、永遠なれ。
Well, I was about to Google what the fucking avtomat is, but now there's some kind of massive shootout going on. You know what? I'll let them do their thing. I gotta Google something. Yeah, no, y'all keep doing. Oh, it's a gun. Oh. Is that what AK stands for? They're assault rifles. The most well-known one being the AK-47. Okay. I guess I never really knew what the A in AK stood for, so I didn't catch that. But yes, I know what an AK is. I know what those models of weapons look like. I know what we're doing here. Oh shit, I forgot to pull OBS back up. There we go. So basically this cult's preaching and all of a sudden these guys with fucking AKs show up and start shooting shit up. Gotcha. I recognize that slogan. They're anti-AI activists. Gunfire rings out in the street and people scream as the cultists fall over like bowling pins. We race to leave the street, which is now filled with angry roars and terrified screams.